Okay, got everything situated here. Get the camera and the computer and everything situated. I'm back up here at the shop, as a lot of you can tell right now. Jimmy's got the old double nickel up on the lift. He's hey Jamie, doing pretty good. A little bit chilly this morning up here at the shop, as you see, and trying to stay warm with my little foot heater I've got. Uh, I have to had to bundle up a little bit more, but as you can tell, my 55, Jimmy's got it up on the lift. We're hey James, how are you? Yeah, I'm up here. Like I say, I gotta stay a little bit warmer and everything up here if I can with my foot heater. Well, that's great. I'm glad to see you doing good, James. Yeah, it's a little bit cool in the shop. I don't have the big heater on. I don't turn it on because it uses a lot of oil, and I don't get the free oil like I used to. I used to get a lot of free oil. Well, I guess free or secondhand oil from my trucks, and that was the purpose of me having those clean burn recycled heaters up there. And I don't get as much recycled oil anymore since I don't have 50 trucks running down the road. So right now I get a little bit of oil. Landon gives me some, and I try to be conservative of it. And I don't have it about 150 gallons of oil out there if I've got that much. I don't think so. Jim and I turn on the heater conservatively, warm up the shop, and then I got some other small heaters we use. So in the wintertime, we try to be conservative. Of course, hopefully in a couple of months, we'll be back at it and we'll open the shop doors and we don't worry about it. Then we have to worry about our cheap air conditioning we have, which is none. So, yeah, that's what I've got going on with that. How are things going with you, Jamie? I'm going to take a drink here, guys. My throat's a little bit, uh, I'm a little congested. I'm a little congested right now. Uh, like everything else, these winter months get the best of you, and you'll get congested and a little bit of cold here and there. And my breathing's not as good as it should be anyway. I've had all these pulmonary problems. So I have to, I kind of have to watch myself getting congested. I don't have the breathing capacity that I used to have before my heart surgery. And we're trying to resolve that now. That's one of the things I've been going to the doctors about. And I have to, uh, I have to watch myself when I'm out and about, and I can't walk as much as I used to, and that sort of stuff. And really, even talking gets me a little wore out. Sipping on your coffee, are you? Yeah, yeah. My wife. I was just going to work down there at the house this morning, and the wife sort of hinted around that you ought to do it from the shop. She wanted me out so I could get out of her way so she could do some cleaning this morning. I get in her way, and she she has her routine. So I guess I had to get in my routine and come back up to the shop and get out of her way. So that's why I'm up here at the shop. Uh, it's not freezing cold today, so I'm not too bad. No, I don't use a CPAC. I don't have any problems sleeping or anything like that. Mine mine is coming from, they think, now this is the preliminary so far. They think that my the nerve that goes to your diaphragm was probably damaged when they did the quadruple bypass on me. You know, when they take your heart out or whatever, and they're working on it, and it's possible that that nerve that goes behind your heart down to your diaphragm may have gotten damaged. And I'm having issues trying to get deep breaths. Is what I'm trying to. That's my biggest problem. It sounds like right now. I mean, I can walk across this shop and I'm out of breath. I mean, just coming up here to the shop, just getting my stuff out of the car and coming in here. Actually, I feel like I've walked a mile almost. That's the extreme nature of it. I'm just not. I'm not getting the lung capacity that I should be getting, and so you know they've had me. I've already taken two different one called a sniff test, and then I don't know what the other test was called, but I've taken two tests already in the past 6 months to check out my capacity, lung capacity. No, I'm getting I'm getting oxygen into the blood. It's just, I mean, I just feel like I'm gasping for breath a lot of times. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, I can, I carry some cans of oxygen with me, and I'm just, I think I'm about one step away from being the type guy that you see with the oxygen in his nose, you know, carrying the little pack. I'm almost there in some ways. But a lot of it has to do with capacity, not so much the oxygen amount. I'm getting oxygen to my bloodstream. Now it gets low. I mean, I have the little thumb thing that you know, a lot of people have where it measures the amount of oxygen, and I have that. And yeah, I can walk across the room and whatever and sit down, and it's low. It's down around 89 or 90 percent, sometimes even lower. So it's affecting me and everything. Just trying to figure it out. It's the big thing right now. But you know, we all have issues, and when you have heart surgery, you know, different things can go bad. Hey, Renegade. Yeah, I'm glad you jumped in here. Yeah, Renegade. I was in chatting with him a couple of times. He's on twice a week. Well, really, he's on twice a week live, and then he's got his he'll throw some videos in every once in a while with his things he's bought and got and stuff like that. So yeah, thumbs up to Renegade there. Watch it. Let me get a thumbs up, see what it does. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, I don't know about that, James. But you know, as it stands right now, that's what they're. I mean, I got to go back to the pulmonary doctor, I think on the 10th. 10th or no, not the 10th. That's too quick. I think sometime next week, I think. I'll have to check and see. But maybe I'll get some answers from him this next week. See if he's figured out what I need to do, what kind of regimen he wants to put me on. He may want to put me on a CPAP type machine. I don't know. Right now, I need something to help exercise my lungs, and trying to walk is the toughest thing for me. If they put me on that, that's going to be a tough one, but that may be what he comes up with. I don't know. You never know on these things what they're going to do. Oh, did she? Well, I'm glad to know that, James. Well, if you find out any information, I mean, that's the beauty of the internet. You can get a lot of different ideas on things and get a lot of people, giving you some ideas, and I'd like to be able to resolve this if I could. That's for sure. Because right now, like I said, I don't know if y'all can tell it, but I have trouble talking. I used to never have any trouble talking. I mean, I'm a big talker, and I have trouble. I almost have to catch my breath when I'm talking for long periods of time. Yeah, I'll do that, James. I'll ask my doctor. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna see what he says about the situation this next week, and I'll get back with y'all and tell you what he says. But right now, I'm just hanging in there, doing the best I can. I'm still getting around, still doing things. I mean, it's not stopped me from doing anything that I really want to do. I mean, I can't do as good as I used to do. Uh, I mean, I still come up here to the shop, and of course, Jimmy does 90% of the work. I do the 10% to help him out or whatever. But we get out and do some things together on the equipment. Jim's been good. He's been cleaning up the shop and outside the shop. We're trying to. I'm gonna add on to the shop right here. I got a little lean-to section where I had some poles that I put up years ago, and I'm gonna do a little lean-to on it and put my 2 utility trailers out there so I can actually work out of them. Maybe I'm gonna try to run my Wi-Fi out. I got one utility trailer that's really nice, got a lot of cabinets in it and everything else, and I'd like to have it and maybe put me a little split unit in it and everything, so I could put heat and air conditioning in it and have something nice to kind of have a little office up here. I mean, I don't have a personal type office. I got one little office back here we built a year or so ago, but it'd be nice to have something a little bit different that I could go to and maybe have some multiple screens and do some editing and a few things like that. At least that's what I'm thinking right now, and I'll see what I can do. Oh, so you use a CPAC, do you, James? Yeah. Now my daughter uses a CPAC. My daughter, she had breathing issues, and she uses a CPAC, but I've never been tested for a CPAC. They may very well put me on something like that. I don't know. But you never know. You never know. Once it gets into trying to self-analyze yourself, it gets tough. I mean, I guess I'm a big proponent of looking up everything on the internet and trying to figure things out myself. Sometimes, I'm gonna move this camera just a little bit. Oh, let me move that just a smidge there. Get that out of the way. But we'll see. We'll see this next week, hopefully. At least I think that's next week. I can't remember. But I got all kind of different things. I got other issues personally that I need to take care of too, and all that. That's in the. I did that. It's on the other side of where the 55 is. I got an area in there. I got a little room in there, but I haven't used it as much, and I probably should in some ways, but uh, I I don't know. I moved some things around and just kind of lost interest with that little room. It's small, and I kind of lost interest with that. I kind of like to have something that I could. Well, this other location I've got, if I put it up here, I think would be a lot better for me because I have a lot of cabinet space already built. I have just a lot of different features with it that would make it a little more comfortable than what I've got back here. I mean, what I've got's all right. And me and Jim, well, Jim helped frame that up, and we got it insulated and everything so we can soundproof it a little bit, and I can put a green screen up there. But it just didn't, I don't know. I just got into not using it. So that's what happened in there. And my router and everything else is in there. So, I mean, it's somewhat convenient, but I don't know. Want to change sometimes. A person gets into something he wants to change, and that's what I'm going to do. That's just the wild hair in me, I guess. But right now, that's what I'm wanting to do, is to put these trailers up here and do this cover, and that'll protect those trailers more too, because anybody that's got those utility trailers knows what I mean. I mean, they're good, but they're still a temporary trailer. You know, they're not as good as like James said, claustrophobic. That may be what it is. I may be a little bit more claustrophobic back in there. But you know, I like being out here in the open. I mean, I'm out here in the openness of the shop, and this feels good out here, except it's a little bit chilly. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know, I enjoy a little bit of change here and there, and I'm due that change. I've always wanted to finish that lean-to. I've had those poles out there beside my shop for 15, 20 years, and I need to do something with them and go ahead and make that more permanent. What it is telephone poles that were trimmed up, squared up, like 8x8s or really 10x10 probably, but they're pretty good sized telephone poles that are squared up. And I wanted to make something like the rest of the building, like, you know, it's a pole building, and make something like that would be permanent, and make it just a little bit nicer. Just one of those projects that you get in your mind, and that's what I want to do if I can. Well, I had an interesting week this week. Renegade knows what I'm going to talk about. I was used in a commercial this week. My wife and I were asked to come to a friend's restaurant and sit in and be the background people in a upcoming commercial for a U.S. congressman. We got this. He's actually the Speaker of the House of North Carolina right now, and Tim Moore, and he was doing a commercial. Because they've added a new congressional district here in my area. They're adding that, and Tim Moore's running for it, and he'll probably get it, because this district that he's going to be in is predominantly Republican. It's a heavy Republican area. Of course, they kind of got it cut up so it's in 2 or 3 counties. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to be movie stars. I'm a movie extra. And actually, I don't even know if I'll be seen in it at all. Probably my wife, because they had me and my wife to change places. And then they placed another lady right in front of me, and she had big hair. And so probably all you're going to see is the edges of my face or whatever. So it is what it is. I don't know. You never know when they do these commercials of how much you'll actually be in the background or whatever. But we were there trying to pretend to talk and look still active and everything else. So that's what we're doing. Yeah. Next thing. Yeah, Jed, we're going to have to move to Beverly Hills, aren't we? Yeah, I doubt that. No, well, I've been in a couple of commercials before locally. I don't know what it is about them that I've been in a couple. I've been in a couple documentaries. Uh, so I mean, nothing dramatic, nothing real big, but I've enjoyed it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're going to get rich and have to move away from here, aren't we? Not. If I struck it rich, I'd stay right here. Right here is where I want to be. Get this little town of 5,000 people. We got 5,000 people, and I know 4,000 of them myself. At least I think I do. I know a majority of them, and the majority of them know me. So I like it like that, and I like being able to just blend into the background. And I guess that's what I am on this. I'm good background because like I said, I don't know what they're going to use it. It'll probably be. I may have to, if I'm in it and you can see me in the clip or see Barbara in the clip, I may have to take a snippet of it and put it on a video or something. But as it stands right now, I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, you know how it is with political ads. I mean, they're going to do 30 seconds of something, and I'm either going to be in it or not in it. I don't know what parts they'll take. I don't know what parts they'll, I don't get to see what they're seeing, so I don't know. And but the guy is talking, the candidate's talking, and we're in the background behind him in a booth. But we're a couple of booths back. I mean, I'm not directly behind him, so you have to kind of look for us if you even do see me. Yeah, yeah. I like living in a small town. I've lived here all my life. Uh, I mean, I went all through grade school and high school and in my college years and everything right here in this town. I worked at Carolina Freight for a number of years before I went on to work for FedEx, but I'm at Carolina Freight right here in the town. So, yep, yeah, it's a city. Yeah, Jamie's correcting me. The city of Cherryville, but I mean, we call it a town, city, whatever, and it is what it is. Um, um, it's a nice place to live, that's for sure. I mean, Jamie will tell you. I mean, I took Jamie downtown Cherryville, uh, and we walked around a little bit and stopped in and see some people, and everybody knows you and knows you for what you are and that sort of stuff. Yeah, that I'm not mainstream Hollywood, that's for sure. I don't think I'm the Hollywood type. I don't think I'm the Hollywood. Uh, uh, I'm more like the Mayberry type than I am the Hollywood type. So I mean, Mayberry was, you know, not too far from here. Andy Griffith's hometown was up there at Mount Airy, which is it's about 150 miles from here, about north of us in North Carolina. But they're laid back like we are. Of course, they're probably a little bit bigger than us now. Mount Airy's pretty good sized little town, and with all the tourist attractions and everything else from what they've got from the Mayberry days and everything up there, it's grown a little bit. But our little hometown is uh, the hustle and bustle actually kind of went out of our town when Carolina Freight, which was the major industry in town, left, and when they got bought out by ABF and everything, they took a lot of hustle and bustle life out of our town. Well, hey, Chris, how are you? Did you get much snow out that way, Chris? I noticed it. Parts of Texas and Arkansas and I guess Oklahoma and Nebraska and all up in there got some. I hope you're doing all right if you did. But I know this storm came barreling through here yesterday morning. We had nothing but a downpour here. I think we got a couple inches of rain, a good cold rain. We didn't get any snow or ice or anything. Thank goodness. Oh, you're supposed to get some more tomorrow. Yeah, we didn't get anything. We've just gotten rain this season, which is fine with me. I don't care about snow at all. So as long as I don't mind it getting a little bit cold and everything else, but getting cold and miserable and snow and having to remove snow, that's not for me. And like I said time before, the way North Carolina removes snow is religiously. They do it religiously. In other words, they let God melt it away. That's about. Oh, good gracious. So you got a mess on your hands, and hadn't you? New calves, and you got new calves, and then a little bit of snowy weather out there too. I hope you got a good barn for them. Yeah. Renegade doesn't know anything about snow down there in northern Florida. Yeah, that very, very little snow gets your way, does it? How warm is it down there this morning? I mean, it's 40 degrees here today. What is it down your way? About 65 already? Yeah, Renegade doesn't know anything about it. 51. Okay, so a little bit chilly for you, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit chilly, 51 degrees. Oh, okay. So, well, as long as you can keep them healthy, and of course, sometimes those little calves are more resilient than you give them credit for. I mean, it surprises me how Mother Nature works like that. How you can have newborns that will survive the elements. 27 there. Yeah, that's kind of chilly. Kind of chilly out there, isn't it, Chris? Say you got about 4 inches of snow. How much more are they predicting out there for you? Another 2 or 3 inches? Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, he's down there in Florida, James. I don't know which part. Hey, Joy. 8 degrees there. How much snow you got, Joy? How much did Albany, New York get? Yeah. 8 inches. Whoo. Oh, Lordy. James in Tampa and Renegade in Jacksonville. Yeah, Tampa. James has probably got it. How warm is it in Tampa? Supposed to get a foot. Good gracious. Hey, Roadrunner, how are you? Yeah, it's crazy. I'm glad we missed all that. Had we had cold enough weather, we would have had a foot of snow too, because we got several inches of rain yesterday morning. I mean, it come barreling through. 62 in Tampa. That sounds nice. Yeah, that sounds nice. That's for sure. Hey, I like the Orlando, Tampa area for weather. Probably the most consistent you can get, I guess. Yeah, yeah, that's nice, nice and still warm, and you still get out and do some things. But it does get hot down there. It does get hot during the summertime. So you have to take the good with the bad, don't you, James? But I guess all in all, that ain't real bad. if you can get out at this time of the morning and it's 62 degrees. Yeah. But, you know, we all have different things that we get accustomed to. I mean, that's like Chris is out there in the Midwest and everything, and he's got all that wind to contend with. Now he's got snow. Now, how bad is the snow blowing out there, Chris? I mean, that's the other thing that would get to me. The wind is so dramatic out there in the Midwest. It just, you know, I never could get used to that every time I've been out there. It's just so windy. I mean, I know it sounds crazy. I mean, I guess the people that live there get accustomed to it, but people that live out here in the East, we're not accustomed to all that wind. I mean, it's pretty calm out here, and you know, every once in a while we'll get a windy day, but to have the wind almost consistently be blowing all the time across the plain states is just, I don't know if I could take that all the time. Oh, it's actually been still. Okay. Maybe the snow's got it packed down. I don't know. Yeah. But when the wind gets to blowing and you got snow, you got a mess on your hands, hadn't you, Chris? I mean, I know that it's got to really work on you when you get snow and wind and everything together. I know when we've had that out here, I mean, it feels like a blizzard then. I mean, the blowing snow and making it drift and everything is worse than the snow itself coming down. Yeah, I know it. I bet they are. I mean, I've been through that a little bit out here when we've had some deep snows and then the next day or so it gets windy or whatever and blows and that was terrible. I didn't like that at all. I've not had to live through much of that in my lifetime, but I remember a couple of times we've had it like that where it would get we'd get snow drifts pretty bad with all the wind, but not very often have we had that. But I do remember a couple of times in my lifetime that we've had a little bit of that. But out west, out in the Midwest, y'all get that a lot, I imagine. And I've seen some of these other people that even upper Midwest and the Minnesota and the Dakotas and everything like that, Nebraska and some of these places. I would hate to have to deal with that. And I've had some, you know, trucks that have gotten caught in that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, that's probably true too. I mean, although the newer codes, that they've gotten smart with the newer stuff, making sure that you insulate pretty good. I mean, you can't hardly build a house at all now without everything being pretty good on the codes. I mean, of course, we still don't have to worry about the frost line like y'all do out there. I mean, our frost line is, 10 inches or 12 inches. I mean, we don't have if you get a pipe more than a foot in the ground, it's well insulated. I mean, that's not the case in the West and the Midwest and out there. Y'all probably need to go several feet in the ground to be protected. Ooh. Good gracious. I know it. Yeah, I guess you get acclimated to that, Jamie. I couldn't get acclimated to those kind of cold temperatures. But it is what it is. Oh, you got a 17-inch frost line. I bet, Jamie, I wonder what is it in Boston? It's like 2 or 3 feet up there, isn't it, Jamie? the frost line, where if you have to bury something, you have to go 2 or 3 feet deep, don't you? I know. I remember seeing episodes of This Old House, and they would show them putting something down in the ground, and they were going way deep. And I go, golly, why so deep? 5 feet. Wow. Good gracious, David. Well, I bet so in Ontario. Yeah, now see, we got a frost line of 12 inches here in North Carolina. I mean, if you get something under a foot under the ground, it's considered insulated at that point. So, I mean, everybody just puts, you just put your water lines a foot or so in the ground, and you're in good shape. Then you should never freeze. I mean, our ground doesn't get that frozen and hard. I mean, it would take a tremendous amount of climate change for it to change for us to anything colder. But right now, it's, golly, 5 feet. I'd hate to, boy, if you dug a basement up there, it'd be terrible. Probably don't dig do they dig many basements up there, David? If you had to dig a basement and put a footer, or, of course, I guess if it's 5 foot, that means your footer has to be that deep, doesn't it? So it doesn't heave up. I mean, I think that's the part of the deal. I mean, when you're digging footing, so I mean, like I said, out here, you can dig if you got a footing that's a foot deep, you're in good shape. And I've seen these footings, like I said, on This Old House, and they'd be 2 or 3 feet deep, So it's a whole different dynamic that you have to deal with when you're, the different places you live at. But it is what it is. Well, we're here in this time of the year where everybody, I guess that these climate extremers, there's lots of basements. Okay. So they're digging them deep and digging them with a lot of footers in, aren't they? Yeah. That was in North Georgia. Yeah. Well, North Georgia would be about like us. Yeah, well, northern Georgia would probably be like the Piedmont. I mean, the hilly section of, well, if you're talking up there near Chattanooga, if you're in North Georgia, above, which part of North Georgia were you living in? I know I used to have to run up through there a good bit years ago. Come across from the North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia line. They all meet right up there at the Chattahoochee. Yeah. Yeah, right there at the Chattahoochee River and everything, where Deliverance was made years ago. Right there in the North Carolina, Georgia. It's really the extreme part of North Carolina. It's right down to the very end. BRB. Now you got me there, Renegade. What am I looking at? Hawasasi. Well, how do you say that? It's not Hawassi, in it? Hawassi, Georgia. Yeah, Chattahoochee Lake is there. Yeah, that's where the river. That's where they had the Olympics years ago when they were doing the rafting and everything. It was right there on the Chattahoochee River, northern Georgia and North Carolina and everything. Right, trying to think of the name of the Murphy, North Carolina is right in that little area. You got Murphy, North Carolina, and then right down below Chattanooga and all that down in there. It's all, I guess, a little cluster of towns and everything. And and I had a friend that used to run out of there, and I'm trying to think, he lived in Georgia, but he worked out of the Chattanooga terminal we had. And then he used to meet me down in Commerce, Georgia and everything. Chattooga Lake. Yeah. Okay. Well, I tell you what, it struggled to get it up back there. It struggled to get the 55 up. Yeah, they only hold 14,000 pounds per lift. So yeah, it was a struggle. Now we use it for the cars and the trucks and whatever. It's a handy lift. It's a handy lift back there, Chris. Yeah, we enjoy that. Like I said, we can we can get it and go underneath the cars real easy, and you can't beat it. No, Jim's putting a new sending unit, I think, on the. He had to get a new fuel gauge for the car. The fuel gauge in it's the old gauge, and it keeps quitting. We don't know if it's the gauge or whatever, but he bought another gauge to go in there. He ran it out of gas the other day. That's what they call a sterile Coney lift. I can take you back there and show you. Let me see something right quick. Oh me, we'll just take a little trip. We'll take a little trip here in the shop, and I'll show you what we've got. These are called sterile Coney lifts, and as you can tell, they're rated 14,000 pounds per tower, and yeah, it's made for my semi trucks. What it was, I mean, that's what I had it for, but it makes it real neat for being able to get underneath the 55 here. I mean, Jim's working on the sending unit, but as you can tell, I can just walk here and do what I want to do. Of course, there's my Dixie chopper. We got it running good and working good, and we're getting ready to put a new. Well, I say a new. We're getting ready to put a. Hold on a second. Let me turn back around. Whew. Turn back around here to me. I guess if you want to see me, let me correct well, that's okay. I think everybody can see me good enough and hear me good enough. Yeah, that's what I like about it, that we don't have any posts that you have to deal with. I mean, it's connected to the tires, so you're able to do a whole bunch of work. Well, we had to put another clutch on it. That's what we had to do, Chris. The clutch was bad, and it was not cheap getting a new clutch, $730. And so yeah, it was an expensive clutch. Although they have, smaller clutches. The problem with that one, it's a Caterpillar engine on that one, and you're gonna have to watch me, guys. I got to catch my breath a second here. Yeah, the clutch was $730 for that, and then the belts were another $200, I believe. Yeah, it's got the belts are 120 inches or something, but it's a big, thick belt too. Yeah. Well, it'll take your breath away. Yeah. That's sort of what I said too, James, but it is what it is. If you want it to run, if you don't want a $20,000 mower sitting around not running, so you go ahead and do it. I don't know what these things would cost now if they built them, but that one, when I bought it new, we paid right at $20,000, about 19,000 for it. And that, because I've had it 10 years or better. And yeah, that's what you have to do. If you buy big equipment, you have to pay a big price when something breaks. I'll tell you that. That's the only problem with anything like that in the world. I mean, they're fun to drive, and it works fantastic. Does a lot of work, but when something breaks, it's a big price to pay, and that's what you get into. But it is what it is. It's only money, guys. As I tell my wife, and she's not too happy about it sometimes, but it is what it is. She would rather see it fixed than sit around, But I'm not going to worry about it. At least I'm in the position that I can't afford it. I try not to waste my money, but at least I do have enough money to pay for it. And so that's the way you kind of got to look at it. I'm making all these big bucks from YouTube. As Chris probably is. Chris, have you gotten much money out of it yet? You get pesos, don't you? You get pennies out of YouTube when you got a YouTube channel. Some guys are getting rich off of. Some guys are making a living. I don't think I'll ever get to that category. Nor do I try to. I'm just relaxing with my channel. Yeah. They won't send you a check out unless it's over $100. So you got to get up to $100. Even if it takes you 2 or 3 months or whatever. Then once you crack $100, then they'll send you a check out. Yeah. I'm not. I like getting these things fixed because like I said, I've had to put a little bit of money in this one. I guess a couple $1,000. Well, the tires, I had to replace the tires and rims, and those weren't cheap. They had quit making these tires. They had 13-inch rims. And then I had to drop them down to 12 because they don't make the 13 anymore. Dixie Chopper didn't have them anymore. And so I had to switch. So I had to get all new rims and tires. Then I had a fit getting them on. We finally figured out, well, we had to put tubes in them is what we had to do. We couldn't get them to expand right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what you can do. You put some out there, Chris, and just do what you want to do. Yeah. Well, and that's where you have to look at it. Yeah, I tried all kind of tires. I had to get these back from Dixie Chopper. So I know I paid a premium for the tires. And then I had to buy the rims too. So it'd match up because when they built these things, they built them almost exclusive for their mower. So I'm kind of hung with getting it straight from them. I couldn't find a side manufacturer or tire person to get them. And I paid a pretty penny to get them back. So I spent a couple $1,000 getting this one back up and running, but hopefully this mowing season, it'll work good for me. I mean, it runs great. I had low hours and I only have probably 100 and something hours on that mower, if that much. And I don't know if it's got let me see if it's got a hour gauge. I know it does, doesn't it? $199. I got 199 hours on it. So not many hours, not for a Caterpillar engine, but I hope to get a lot more hours in it this summer, because I use my electric mower down at the house, and I kind of just want to keep it down there. It can mow the yard and everything, but when I mow the grass coming up and down my road and around the shop and around my other buildings stuff, I need a heavier mower like this. Yeah, well, and that's true. Uh, I mow with a lot of different mowers. When I bush hog, I get my big tractor out and get that done. And then, once I get this cleared behind my shop, where I log this out and I get it cleared out and put it back in pasture, I'll have some more. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna have it pasture or just a big yard. Barbie doesn't want to put trees back there, so we're just going to put it back in grass and just mow it. And she wanted that kind of look coming down the road. Yeah, I mean that's what you get into sometimes. A lot of people buy those, and they're not the commercial type. I mean, this one is a commercial mower here. I mean, this is not your everyday. This one's designed for somebody to run a job, you know, 7 days a week or 6 days a week in the summertime, and mow consistently all day long, 8 and 10 hours a day. That's what this mower is designed for, and it'll last me the rest of my life. And it's just I like it, and it does a good commercial, industrial type work down here for me. I mean, it doesn't take me long at all to mow up and down the road. And then plus I have my tool cat that's when it gets unbearable and hot and everything else, I got an air conditioned mower, and I got a 72-inch mower for it that that I can get out and mow with it. And then I got a bush hog I can put on it, and just a lot of different things. So I've got good mowing options, but it takes it down here where I live, because I got 75 acres of land to keep up. And, so it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. I would not want to try to mow this with a Cub Cadet. What I've got, I've got, like I said, I've got a lot of things to mow and to keep up just around the shop here. That would overwhelm a lot of people. And we're trying to get it cleaned up better. Like everything else, you get a lot when you have a trucking business, you get a lot of accumulation of a lot of things, and we're getting our scrap metal and everything else. And I got a scrap metal bin trailer right beside my shop, and we're getting rid of that because we don't use scrap. We don't have the scrap metal like we used to. Yeah, give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can. If y'all can give me a thumbs up, that would help the dynamics or whatever on this channel while we can, because we never know. I might need one day. I may need that $100 from. I may need that $100 from YouTube. So yeah, smash it if you can. Just give me a thumbs. Just don't smash your thumb. But I appreciate that, Jamie, and Renegade, and Chris, and all the other guys. Well, that's exactly what happens, Chris. That's exactly what happens with anybody that has scrap, that has owned scrap, and does any metal work or whatever. The day that you move it or lose it or whatever, you go, dang it, if I had that back. Then if you go to buy it back, you pay 4 times as much to get it back of what you got from it at the scrap metal place. That's what gets you. They'll give you pennies for it and charge you dollars back, don't they, Chris? I know I looked at something at scrap metal bin, a scrap metal place down there one other time, and I figured, I said, well, maybe I can get that for about $100. Guy looked at it, he said, nah, it'd be about $500. I said, for what? And he's that. And I'm thinking, yeah, you probably gave the guy $10 or $20 for it when he came in with scrap metal, but he wanted like $400 or $500 for a aluminum bin type thing. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's not to. They definitely make a profit off of it. That's like these people. I was noticing the people that are putting solar in, and some of them are thinking, well, I put solar in, and what solar that I don't use, I'll sell back to the power company, and I'll even out on my power. Doesn't work that way. The power company sells you retail power, and they give you wholesale power. When you send it back to the, if you got it set up so you can send that power back to them and sell it back to them, you're going to get about 4 cents on the kilowatt or whatever, and they're going to charge you 12 or 15 cents when you buy it back from them. So they don't give it to you by any. It's not a tit for tat, that's for sure. Even on power. Yeah. Yeah, it's cheaper than new. If you have to buy metal new, that's the only alternative. I mean, if you got scrap metal, then and that's the reason. And I know every wife out there has heard this from their husband, and they'll say, "Get rid of this." And I go, "I may need it someday," and I had a whole yard full of I might need it some days, and I've got a whole shop full of tools and other things over there right now in the other shop that I might need it someday. And that's what I always tell my wife. I said, I may need that someday. And sure enough, I mean, you as soon as you get rid of something that you thought you would never need again, that's invariably, it seems like the next week or the next day, that's when you needed what you just got rid of. And it always, I guess the pack rat in you wants to keep it. And that's me. I'm the pack rat that wants to keep too much. I know I need to get rid of some things, but I've got a cluster of things. My children will get rid of it. That's for sure. They'll get rid of everything I have. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, that's like my brother Don. He's the one he's the oldest brother. He's got Parkinson's, and he's really in bad shape. I mean, I hate it for him. He can barely get around. And he called me the other day and wanted me to take him to Harbor Freight. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, he literally can just barely get around. He's on a walker when he walks, and then he's in a wheelchair a lot of times too. And uh, you can't hardly hear him talk at all. His voice is so low. And I took him over to Harbor Freight, and we went up and down every aisle, and he'd pick up different things. And I kept thinking the whole time, when are you ever going to use this, Don? But I didn't say it because in my mind and I know that gave him pleasure to think that he's going to be able to use it and do something with it one day. And just seeing him get the pleasure out of buying it with hopes in his mind that one day he'll get to use it was good enough for me. So that's the reason I did it. I mean, I wasn't gonna, and I can't scold him about it because I do the same thing, and I'm guilty of the same pleasure, you might say. I mean, I know it's built into me and my brothers. We got it from my dad. My dad was a pack rat, and he would make stuff out of all kind of scrap and everything else. So I enjoyed seeing my dad do that. So, uh, you know, and like Jamie said, you got to enjoy life. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I do my YouTube channel. I do it because I enjoy conversing with all the guys. I enjoy it because, I feel like I'm giving a perspective out there to that some people want to hear. Maybe, I don't know. I hope they are. Uh, I have 100 or so, a couple hundred people that tune into the channel each week. A lot of them, not all at one time. A lot of them here on the chat. I wish we had more on the chat, but we got 15 or 20 on the chat. It varies. I got a lot of the same good old guys that are in here all the time, which I like. And then I have a lot of others that'll email me and text me and different things during the week. I enjoy that. I don't want to be overwhelmed with it, but what I have and what I'm able to do is fun for me. I hope some people get something out of our conversations. I hope they do. Y'all guys keep coming back, and I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of people are tardy. Not everybody's on time at 9 o'clock, but I quit taking roll a good long while back. So, and some people drop out. Some people you don't hear from anymore. So it is what it is. So I won't give you a demerit for being late, James. We won't make you write your name on the board and that sort of stuff. So we, it's just fun. It's fun to be able to relate with people and get people's ideas. Yeah, you don't need to sit in the corner. Or as the young kids, when my grandson came up, we gave him time out, which I always thought was the silliest stuff. But oh gosh, he hated it. My grandson, he would cry when you say, well, yep, you're going to have to go to timeout. So it worked. It worked. I guess the fact he was just being punished is what he couldn't take. And, that in itself, I guess that's all the reinforcement you need at a young age. And those kind of things, they work. Yeah. You hurt his feelings when it's like that. So, we won't time out with anybody. That's for sure. But speaking of that, it's about my time to time out this morning. I knew my voice was getting weaker. So I'm about timed out myself. I look on the clock here. It's a little after 10, and I got to go down, and my wife and I, we watch our church service via YouTube at 10:30. So I need to get back down to the house, watch our local church service, and enjoy that. Yeah. I remember people doing like that too. That was always tough, wasn't it, James? Yeah. Yep, that's tough. Well, guys, I'm going to head on back down to the house. I've enjoyed it this morning. I hope everybody else is doing fine, has a good week. Hopefully, I'll get some good doctor reports this week, find out what's going on in my chest, and I can report back to you next week. But I'll see you guys. Y'all take care.